Hi folks, I'm Lou Stonehill, and from July 2007 until September 2008, I built Studio 4. Let's go take a look. The first thing to draw your attention to is the doors. They're all the same. They were supplied and manufactured by studio people. They're 70mm thick, they weigh around 80 kilograms, and they have a 40 dB attenuation rating. They feature rubber seals all around the perimeter, including the bottom, which I'll show you in a moment, and they also have magnetic seals to draw the door really tight when it shuts. The doors also feature a mechanical rubber seal in their base, which is activated when the door is closed thanks to the plunger just on the side here. Now all that rubber around the door obviously means that when the door shuts we get a totally airtight seal. This obviously improves the isolation and the soundproofing. In addition, the doors feature push plates, pull handles, industrial self-closers, and the stainless steel portholes make for excellent visual communication between the areas. They also shut like a dream. This is Studio 4's in-house drum kit. It's a pre-Yes system, Yamaha 9000 Recorder Custom Pro. I do obviously have cymbals, but invariably when session drummers or band drummers turn up for a session, they of course inevitably bring their own cymbals with them. It's an 8-piece kit, although one of the toms is not currently set up in this configuration. We also have a 6-inch solid brass snare. Tom sizes are 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 and an 18-inch floor tom with a 22-inch bass drum. The ergo hat stand and double bass drum pedal are both Mapex. The principal advantage with having an in-house kit is that whether we're doing a 2-day drum session or just a band session, we can get a drum sound in here very, very quickly. A drummer only needs to turn up with his snare and cymbals. We simply mic it up, open the faders and get a great sound. If you'd like to know what that sounds like, then please feel free to check out the audio examples elsewhere on the site. The wall boxes in the studio are made from solid 80mm ash. They have a 3mm faceplate. This particular one in the live room, we've gone as far as we can to make sure the facility is as future-proof as possible. So not only do we have standard mic and instrument ins, we also have MIDI, speak-on, USB, Cat5 and Firewire. Believe it or not, that's nothing more complicated than a good quality guitar lead jack to jack both ends. And the really handy thing about that is that when we do a guitar or a bass session, the guitar player can have his cab in here and we can mic it up, and he can come in the control room with me and just plug into the other end of it. As with any purpose designed room, there are no parallel surfaces in here at all, and that includes between the laminate floor and the absorptive fabric ceiling. The design and structure of that ceiling is particularly intricate and was fascinating to watch being built. You should also be able to see in the shot the 2 air-conditioned vents. Just before we leave this room, you've already seen the aircon sends on the other side of the ceiling. What you're looking at now is the aircon returns. The aircon send and receive vents that you've just seen in the ceiling of the live room are supplied by the right hand of the 2 Daikin inverter aircon units. The advantage of having 2 entirely separate aircon systems within the studio is that one controls the ambient temperature of the live room, whilst the other controls that of the control room and the ISO booth. This is very simply so that if we have a live brass session in the live room or a string quartet set in the live room, whilst only a single artist in the ISO booth, the brass can stay nice and cool and the person in the ISO booth doesn't get freezing cold. If we go around to the back of the building, we can go in through here and enter the ISO booth. This is Studio 4's vocal booth, where we also record saxes occasionally, as well as guitar cabs. I'm hoping that you can immediately pick up the difference in the acoustics within this room. Obviously it's smaller, but there's a much greater variation of surfaces in here. On this wall we have an absorptive fabric surface, as was the ceiling in the live room, an absorptive fabric ceiling here, but we have a reflective hard surface on this side. Behind me is the access to the self-contained WC and washroom. The ISO booth wall box, again in ash, a similar variety of connectors, although naturally not quite so many because we simply wouldn't need to plug that many things in here and we don't have the room to do it in here obviously. Again we have Cat5, Firewire, a couple of phonos and USB. And just at the bottom here you can see the studio's in-house guitar amp, which is a Vox AD120 VT. And this is the bit you've been waiting to see, Studio 4's control room. The facility is centred around a pair of Tascam DM4800 digital desks. The one on the left is configured as the slave desk, and the one on the right is configured as the master desk. There are many reasons why we chose the DM4800 to be the centre of the studio. First and foremost, the pre's on these desks are among the warmest I've ever heard on a digital desk. It's a full 24 bus system, which makes for an immense amount of flexibility when recording and tracking. And finally, of course, we have 128 channels if necessary mixed down, all providing a very, very flexible and workable solution. As you would expect with digital desks, we have a whole bank of touch-sensitive, fully motorised faders, and that makes for very quick scene recall and memory, which of course can be stored. One of the things that's also very useful in here is the total integration with the DAW, which in this case is Cubase 5. If I, for example, select the mixer in Cubase, when I adjust a fader within the DAW, the corresponding fader moves in perfect sync with it. Similarly, as I touch any of the faders on the desks, you should obviously be able to see the channels and tracks being selected within the program. All of this can be fully automated, which makes life very flexible. We're currently in the middle of a 2:1 session at the moment, but we are equipped to do a 5:1 surround as well. Now, the two computer screens that you see in front of you are obviously put together just for convenience of use. When we're in a surround situation, we just simply move them apart so that we can hear clearly what's coming out of the centre speaker. While on the subject of monitoring, the monitoring system in here is Dyne Audio Air 15. We have the left, the centre and the right, as you can see there, but we also have a Dyne Audio Air Base 12 sat underneath the console out of the way there. Behind me and to my left is obviously the left surround, and to my right, the right surround. And there's our Airbase 12 subwoofer. Also, you can see that despite the fact that everything is obviously working perfectly, there is absolutely no cable visible anywhere. This was a specific design requirement and it's been met perfectly. One of the things that's also important to mention is the furniture in this room. It was designed, manufactured and supplied by studio people, and rather impressively they actually have designed this ergonomically to specifically fit me. So in the sitting position I can look obviously this way and reach everything no problem at all, and as I move over to the other side everything is nice and easy and readily to hand. Similarly, when I sit here I can turn around obviously in the mixed position and my legs fit nice and comfortably under here and I can reach everything on the desks. This particular position is also what's known as a sweet spot, which means as I sit here I'm right in the centre of the listening image between all 6 speakers. The furniture was built in sections in Shrewsbury and shipped to me in pieces and assembled after the room had been built, and the way it all fits together with the accuracy of detail in here is really quite impressive. And this is the famous orange leather couch. Finally, the acoustics of this room have been analysed and the frequency response is basically perfect. We are flat down to around about 20 to 22 Hz. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to look through this. Why not come and have a listen for yourselves?